4, 3, 2, 1.
Whether you've been married 1 or 20 plus years, at some point you realize you married into crazy. And that's what our show is all about. If your marriage or relationship is compassionate, real, accountable, zealous and yielding, or just plain crazy, Snooks and Lovey offer love, laughter, and a dose of reality as they unpack this thing called marriage. Sit back, relax, and get your ear hustle on. It's time to start the conversation.
Welcome back to another episode of the Married into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey.
I'm Snooks.
And I'm Lovey.
Okay, so we're laughing because we did a whole podcast.
A whole podcast. It was fire too.
And Lovey went to close. He was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I went to go close it
Are
out.
you kidding me?
And I'm like, wait, hold on. It's not even recording. Y'all, we were waxing deep. So listen.
But wait, I'm sorry. The funny part.
Wait, before you go, this episode is what we're going to be talking about is managing change, right? Managing change, in all kinds of different environments. But that's what we're going to talk about today. What were you going to say?
I wish I had a camera because Lovey was upset. He took his hat off and he threw it down, and it sounds so simple, but it was so funny. I just see it in my head, and I'm like, okay, Isaiah.
He gets his tantrums honest. That's for real. Look, we've been married 28 years, and and those 28 years have been full of a variety of different mistakes, a variety of different challenges, and a lot of managing change, right? One of the changes that we've had to manage over the years is the development of Married into Crazy. And so many of you ask us, what exactly does that mean? I get stopped all the time when I'm wearing some of the paraphernalia or different gear. And they're like, does your wife know that you are wearing that shirt?
Yeah. And I'm like, yep, I'm right here. And I got one on too. No.
Yep. We debate about who's crazy.
But the thing is, as you all know, Married into Crazy. Crazy is an acronym, and it stands for compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding. So a lot of times people think, oh, married and crazy, and they laugh about it. Oh, I need that because my in-laws are crazy, or my husband, my wife is crazy. But it's like everybody needs that when you think about it. They all need to have, you can all stand to be more compassionate, more real, more accountable, more zealous, and more yielding in your relationship, in your marriage. So
absolutely. And there's no getting around it. At some point in your relationship, whether you've been together, for 1 week, 10 years, 20 plus years, there's always going to be room to be more compassionate, real, accountable, zealous, and yielding. And those are the 5 principles upon which we teach when we actually work with couples in our Married into Crazy coaching, whether it's with other couples or with some of the individuals that we work with on their own.
yeah.
And it's one of the main things that drove us to really finally answer the calling and create the Winter Ball and Marriage Conference that's coming up on February
7th and 8th, 2025. The link is live. So
it's going to be in Sacramento.
Yeah.
So if you go to shop.marriedintocrazy.com, you'll be able to see the link that goes to the Winter Ball. There's one there. There's, trust me, you can't miss it. Go to the website. You'll be able to see the lineup of speakers that we're going to have there. You'll see the live band that we're going to have for the Winter Ball. So we can dance together, eat at the banquet, and then set the tone for the next day when we have a great lineup of speakers.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I just come out and come hang with us. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Like you said, we got the speakers lined up. We got live band. We get to eat. We get to dress up and be cute on Friday night, dinner and everything. And then on Saturday, we come and we get down to the nitty gritty.
Still be cute on Saturday, though.
Yeah, we still going to be cute.
No, but casual, right? Come in. But no, that's going to be a great time. But let's jump into the topic. Well, you know what? I do want to actually pivot a little bit real quick.
Okay.
Let's talk about something that helps us manage change.
Okay.
One of the things that's helped us manage change over there is making sure we surround ourselves with some really good people. Sometimes it's family. Sometimes it's people outside the family. And so from time to time, what we'll do is we'll schedule certain events in our home.
So we had over the weekend, we've been saying that we wanted to do it, but we had a game night on Saturday. We had couples that came. It was individuals or single folk that came too, but it was so much fun. And like Lovey was just saying, making sure that you surround yourself with like-minded people, especially for us couples. We always want to hang around couples who are about being in a relationship. I don't want to hang out with a couple and they can't stand each other. All they do is down each other, talk about one another. I want to hang around with couples that edify marriage, that edify each other. Just have good, clean, just a good, wholesome, fun time. You can still talk smack though.
Oh, you can still talk smack.
Because we were on separate teams the whole time that we played, and we was talking smack to one another. My team won.
Okay, because it was cheating. Look, that's the other thing. You hold these game nights, and it gives you a good idea of like, okay, these people cheat.
Now you know them. Now you know the real folk.
Right.
That's so
Yeah,
funny.
these folks cheat.
Hater.
But on the other side, it also gives you, I mean, this didn't happen with us and at any of the people that were here, but you get in those situations, and it also gives you a glimpse into how they really do handle things. Because some of these games could get a little heated, right? And you know, you're going back and forth because you mix up the teams. It's not always you and your spouse versus somebody else. You might split it up, and then you get to see how they react to each other. And some people show their true colors in the midst of a game. And let it be known, for the record, wives cheat. The women, and I won't say wives, the women were some cheaters.
We were not cheating because we won. Typical man. Typical.
So we're going to have a rematch.
Okay.
But we did
Bring
make
it.
sure the rest of the night, after the men got spanked in the first game.
You guys didn't get spanked. You lost. It wasn't a spanking.
So we had to mix up. We made sure
they
that
got
we
beat. No.
look. So and we had to manage that change. We had to deal with all that, but definitely do that. We plan on having more of those in 2025, and we might even have another one before the end of the year.
Yeah, and kind of like we did earlier this year, we partnered, I should say, with Dual Duvet.
Yep.
And did a virtual one. So we're going to try to get in touch with her again. Not try to, but hook up with her again and do another virtual game night because we got some different games that we could play too. So
Right. So
yeah.
Kelly, if you're listening, you better be listening, Kelly. First off, everybody go over to dualduvet.com because she's running specials right now. That it's that time of year where it's getting a little bit cooler.
It's cold.
Right. I know some snow just got dropped to my sister over in Denver. So that dual duvet splits right down the middle. It's attractive. And for those of you that run hot, you can roll it down. For those of you that are running cold and you really need that extra warmth, you can keep yours up. But then it accommodates both of you at the same time, depending upon what your needs are.
It really, really does because ours is split right in the middle. I have mine up. He has his laying down. And it still allows us to still be close to each other. We're like right on the border of the blanket up, the blanket down. So I'm like, okay, you could come this way. He's like, you can scoot back, and we make sure that I'm covered, and he makes sure that he's uncovered. So it works out.
Yeah, and we get
very
nothing for this. So this isn't like an affiliate marketing type thing.
No.
Not yet. Kelly, get working on that. But what we do is we believe in this product, right? We do believe in this.
Because we're not fighting over the heat in the bed anymore. So
No. We believe in a lot of products that we don't always talk about, but this one is something that we use every single day, and so it stands out. And by the way, for those of you that are in Sacramento and you have products or services that might benefit married couples or very long-term committed couples, also go to shop.marriedintocrazy.com, go to the Winter Ball tab. There's a spot on there that if you want to be a vendor, we're accepting applications for vendors that can come and bless our couples that are going to be attending. So if you want to be around anywhere from 50 to 100 different couples, if not more, and you want to actually make people aware of what you do that may be able to service them, check out the vendor application. Not everybody that applies is going to be accepted. We're only doing 2 vendors per industry. So just to kind of make sure that we don't saturate any particular area. But go ahead and check that out because it is open as of today. But what we want to do is really get back into that whole change marketplace because change is in the air, right? As a matter of fact, I feel like change is always in the air. Some days it's going to smell like that fresh Cinnabon smell. Smells so good, makes you hungry. Other days it's going to smell like a pig farm.
makes you vomit.
And the winds are going to shift no matter what it smells like to you on this given moment. One thing is guaranteed. that it's going to change yet again. The winds of change are always shifting and blowing in different directions. So how do you maintain some resilience or develop resilience in the midst of this change?
Tell us.
No, there's certain things that you can do. Well, and these are the topics we want to hit on today.
What are you talking about? Honest, open, and being honest, open, and transparent.
Yes.
Having hot conversations or being hot in your conversation, being honest, being open, being transparent. I want to add a little bit to that, though. When we talk about that, we need to maintain the crazy. We just talked about what the acronyms are in crazy. A lot of times we may hit on some things, but we miss some. So the real stands out for me when we're talking about being open and being honest and being transparent. You could be all those things and still not really be real. Case in point, when I'm on the defense about something, if I'm upset about something, or I feel like this is going to happen, or it's going this way, or it's going sideways, or whatever, in my mind, I'm creating a defense. I'm reacting or I'm responding to what I believe someone is going to say, or how Lovey's going to respond, or how he's going to react. So I got my defenses up, because what they say, defense wins the game. So I come in, I've created this scenario in my head about what's going to happen, this impending doom, or this, whatever it is. So I come in and I'm ready to go. And he's like, "Hey, babe, what's going on? How you doing?" And I'm like, "Well, what's what?" That I don't say that, but that's kind of the vibe that I give out.
She says it, and she does it with body language too. She's like, she'll like try to make you flinch. Like, what you got? What's up? As soon as I walk through the door.
But it's all based on something that I made up in my head. It was not a true situation. It felt real, because what is that when you think something is real, your body creates
physiologically. A lot of times your mind can't determine the difference between what you see in your head and what's happening in reality.
And so your body responds to like it's really happening. So we want to make sure that when we're having these conversations and anything that it is that we do, we keep it real. Not the, because 100, I'm getting in your face. No, but okay, let me look at what's really happening and go from there. So
and do it early.
Yeah.
If you can have that conversation and have the intention of identifying, is this really real? Am I right? I mean, give the opportunity for your spouse or your significant other to sit there and say, "No, that's not what I meant," or "That's not what I said. This is it." And the sooner you do that, the better off you're going to be, because you could spend an entire day arguing over something that has no premise whatsoever, because it was part of a narrative that was made up in our heads. Look, I've been there. I've done that because I played an entire scenario in my head, like you talked about earlier. And I, at some point, I stopped focusing on the reality of the situation, and I was more focused on how I perceived it in my head. And you couldn't tell me that it was different.
So like you said, you went all day thinking this thing. And so I wasted a whole day being mad or being upset or based on something that wasn't even true, that didn't happen. So make sure you stay real. And like he said, address it, get on it early.
Right. And I think that once you actually do that, the earlier you do that, then it gives you the opportunity to really focus on some of the positive aspects of the change that has taken place, or whatever it is, whatever the dilemma, whether it's positive or negative or whatever it may be, you can focus. Because look, if you look at a battery, right, we always talk about recharging and getting, preparing yourself to move forward in life and to be positive. We talk about recharging your batteries. You want to get to a space where you're doing self-care and all that to recharge. Batteries have a positive and a negative end at all times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the situation you may be in, the reality of it is it might be a negative situation from an external source, even if it's internal, if you created it, whatever it may be. But the sooner you can identify what that is and then try to figure out, okay, what can I learn from this? Or what can I contribute to this? What steps might I be able to take to advance us to where I can find a solution? I don't see a solution now, but what can I do? What's the positive step I can do or take? And then even from there, you might not still find the solution, but you know what? If you take 2 or 3 steps in a positive direction, by the time you get there, it's going to give you a different vantage point, and then you might be able to see more steps or a true solution, but you wouldn't be able to see it unless you took those initial steps. And it's all from a place of positivity.
I never thought about it like that. I like that analogy about the battery having the positive and the negative, because when you go to charge a battery, you can't just put it on one and it works. They have to go on the positive and the negative so that they work together. So
I like that. I'm deep.
Oh, okay.
No, there's that. I mean, and there's other things that you can actually do too. I mean, like, not only do you want to manage the positive side of that change, but I feel like these things are all linked. And I think that when you're doing that, in a way, you're reaffirming your commitment to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because you talk about, I want to say our commitment. Our commitment is the things that we share. We have the same values. So I'm not, so let me back up just a little bit. I feel like that's where maybe the angst comes in at, because I'm questioning your commitment to my values, or on the flip side, you're questioning my commitment to your values. So when there's that tug of war, that's where we're not, we're having some challenges or whatever. So if I'm recommitting, babe, I still believe in blah, blah, blah. I still believe in us and us getting together, getting through it or whatever. I'm reaffirming or recommitting, letting you know that I still have the same values that I had. We still share them. It doesn't change. I think that would soothe a lot. You're like, oh, okay, thank God she's not. No.
No, I love that, because that comes from a place of gratitude, right? When you're reaffirming, or what do you say, recommitting or reaffirming, it needs to happen daily. We don't need to sit here and wait till the 25th year anniversary to renew your vows. You can renew or reaffirm those vows on a daily basis. And it's in those small commitments that we make to each other. Yeah. And I think that in doing that, it also gives you an opportunity to strengthen your resiliency, knowing that if I do this and we're talking to each other and I feel strong because I know she's got my back, and we talk about having each other's back. I know sometimes people talk about standing side by side, but we always talk about standing back to back, because then that gives you a 360-degree view of all the things that are taking place. So no matter what the world throws at you, if it comes at any particular angle, if you're standing back to back, you've got 360 degrees of vision, and you're able to really make sure that if I don't see it, she does. But I trust her, and so she's going to knock it down.
That's right.
And vice versa.
Vice versa.
I know. I'm sorry. Vice versa.
I'm playing. I'm giving you a hard time. But also, I feel like what goes along with that is the rituals. What is it that we're doing I talked about we're sharing the same values. How am I showing you that I'm sharing the same values, or how are we showing each other that we're sharing the same values? Is because of the rituals that we create together. Now, our ritual, there's a ton of rituals. Some people are very good with the date night. That's a ritual for a lot of people. I want to say shout out to Eric and Melanie, because they got date night on lock. I was like, ooh, we need to do better about our date night, but they got it on lock. They're very intentional about it.
Oh, if you give a shout out, then I'm going to give a shout out to Intentionally Yours. It's an online. Well, it's not even just online. There's a community that's online, but they meet in the Sacramento area, and there's different chapters, if you will. But they just recently rolled out a Marriage Forever movement app. I can't remember what the app is called exactly, but Intentionally Yours has something, and they have these polls. And one of the more recent polls talked about, or asked specifically, how do you rate your date night? Or it was something along those lines. And I tell you what, couples came out of the woodworks, and there were people saying every single Tuesday for the last 10 years, we have a date night or a date moment or something. And it lets me know, like, oh, I got to step my game up, just like you were saying. But I think it's extremely important. But it's not about the date night. It's about the ritual.
Right. It's the ritual. So for us, our ritual, one of our rituals is that we do our morning prayer, and we have we do our mantra together every day. And it's something that it's so embedded in us and ingrained in us that when we miss out on doing it, we know we missed out. We feel it. A lot of people, you create these, we're going to do this, and they only do it for a short period of time. You want to have something that you create that is so ingrained in you, like I said, that when you don't do it, you're like, oh shoot, I forgot. Like when you get up in the morning, you got to brush your teeth every day, so
We hope.
but for us, that's it. It's that the mantra is the prayer. That's just one of the things, but that's daily for us. And I'm gonna just kind of take this back to crazy. The other letter in crazy that I want to talk about regarding that is accountability. The A is for accountability. Our daughters, they keep us accountable to it, because if we miss out on doing our mantra, because we try to make sure that we're enacting what we said. I'm not just saying it, but I'm doing those things. And so we acting up or we going sideways, they be like, what's your mantra say that you supposed to be, or did you do that, or what have you? They're holding us accountable. So you want to make sure that in those rituals that you have, you hold each other accountable, or you have someone else who is holding you accountable to that.
No, absolutely. And one of the beautiful things about developing rituals, because again, we're talking about creating not just rituals, but creating a foundation that's going to allow you to withstand any of the change that may come at you from an external source, right? Even internally, an internal source when you mess up, because we all do at some point in some way. But in building a legacy by sharing this with our daughters and our grandchildren, like right now, our granddaughters are visiting. So this morning, before we did anything else, Snooks and I gathered all the kids. We got a circle. We said our prayer. Of course, the kids are like swinging their arms and whatever, but we're letting them see us say a prayer to really, giving reverence to God. And then we say our mantra. We'll modify it a little bit
to include them,
right? To include the kids by name. And then they think, "Ooh, okay, she said my name."
Yeah, they perk up. They get interested.
and the more often they see us actually with this ritual, not only is it building legacy, letting them know like, oh, Papa and Gigi do this every morning. It won't be foreign to them. And as they're over here more often, we'll be able to include them more often. So that way, as they get older, they recognize that, we need to have this ritual of saying a prayer. And then when we start talking to them as they get older about developing their own personal mantras, it won't be foreign to them. But it also lets us as a couple know that once we do that and we go out into the world, there is no weapon formed against us that can actually harm us. Isaiah chapter 34 will actually ensure that. I think it's Isaiah 34:17, if I remember correctly. But we can go do anything because we have that resilience, that foundation that we developed at home, because we do it every single day. And we attempt to do it every single day. We're human. There's times where, for whatever reason, we don't. And we know it. It shows up big time. But we make sure it doesn't happen again the next day. Or we'll stop in the middle of the day. Hey, you got a quick moment? We forgot to say our prayer this morning. Can we just pray and say our mantra over the phone? Yeah, I got 5 minutes. Okay, cool. And then we knock it out. And then it gets us kind of, it gets us even keeled again, gets us balanced, if you will, again. So that's something else that you can do on a daily basis. And if you don't know anything about developing a mantra, come to the Winter
Ball and Marriage Conference.
Because one of our speakers is going to be Terrell and Courtney Muhammad, who actually teach on developing life operating procedures as well as marriage mantras. And so they're going to be talking heavily, going deep, waxing deep on what you can do to how to develop one of these for your marriage, so that way you can develop this and assist you in getting stronger as you go forward as well.
And, also that you also need to get some support. Sometimes, I'm going to say sometimes, we are not meant to just be alone. We are relational. So seek out some support. You might need some support systems. Like Lovey, we talked about earlier about having our game night, and we had other couples here. We want to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with people that can uplift us. We can uplift them. We can just give each other support, not be Debbie Downers and negative Nancy's, but someone who is optimistic. I mean, and we go through things where sometimes I'm not a pessimistic person by nature, but I have my moments when I'm down. I want to have that accountability where they're like, hey, what's going on? Okay, how do we get out of that? Shout out to Davina, because she does that for me sometimes too. So you want to surround yourself with those type of like-minded people. And if you don't have anyone in the friend network or family, then seek some professional support.
Absolutely. It's just as important to have informal support in the nature of having friends, family around that you can really lean into, but also having formal support.
Mm-hmm.
If you work for a corporation or you're a large company, go to your HR and see if you have EAP. If you have EAP, they provide counseling services and they're free of charge. You get so many. Check with your HR to see exactly how they're running their EAP. Mm-hmm. But there's opportunity there for you to get with a counselor to discuss some of these things to help you really be able to I guess pour into other individuals. If you don't have an ear that will listen to you, that's a great way to go. You can actually go into the phone book that shows my age, but if you're able to go on the internet.
That was one of the things, the yellow pages.
and on the taboo.
The tab, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you'll be able to go and look up, for an MSW, an LCSW. These are acronyms. Somebody that has a master's in social work, somebody that has that's a licensed clinical social worker, somebody that's a licensed medical family therapist, LMFT, a psychologist. There's so many different professionals that are out there, and if you don't want to meet somebody face to face, there's several online options that you have. Not only do you have us with our couple-to-couple coaching and individual coaching and soon-to-be group coaching, you also have these other online help, that's out there. There's a ton of them that are available. There's no excuse why you can't surround yourself with support in mm-hmm. some way, shape, or form, whether it be virtual or in person. But we highly recommend building that team around you. Mm-hmm. I think it'll help you tremendously when it comes to managing all the change that's around us. And we're not just talking political change. Doesn't matter which side of the aisle wins an election. The other side is always talking about, if this happens, this is what's going to transpire. We don't know that, but there's a lot of angst, like you talked about in the very beginning, mm-hmm. where people get up in arms about what they think may happen. And mm-hmm. we create these narratives in our head. Yeah. And we need to get away from that. We really do. And manage what's real. And
it's easier said than done, but it is something that we should work on managing. Last thing I feel like is, we have to practice being patient and showing some empathy. So the other word from crazy, compassion. Show compassion, because we don't all process change the same. It takes me a lot longer than it takes Lovey, and I need him to be patient until I'm there, because I'm like, I need a minute. I need about 10 minutes to process everything. So I would like for him to be patient and show some compassion. And I'm sure if you're not the person that needs to have the compassion shown, you need to be showing the compassion for your people. So
absolutely. So hopefully these pointers, these things that we've discussed, will make a difference for you. Mm-hmm. But also, if you know someone personally that is having a difficult time right now managing the change that's in the air, or if it's seasonal, that they occasionally throughout the year are kind of running around like Chicken Little, or they feel like that doom and gloom is happening, refer them to this episode. But more importantly, point them in some of the directions, like I mentioned, EAP. Let's make sure that they're surrounding themselves with a network of individuals, some type of informal and formal support that can actually assist them.
I'm sorry. I really do just have to say this. You brought it up earlier. You said it about the scripture, about the weapons. So, no weapon forged against me shall prosper. Weapons will be forged. Mm-hmm. Weapons will be forged. But remember, no weapon forged against me shall prosper. Just remember that.
Absolutely. So hopefully this is beneficial to you. Definitely share it with others. Go to shop.marriedintocrazy.com. Get your early bird discount and get your tickets today. There's a hotel block that's been set up, so there's a lot of information there for you to take a look at. Mm-hmm. If you want to travel in, like we have people coming in from Tennessee, from Maryland,
yeah,
and a variety of other places that are flying in, and there's a hotel block that's set up. So all that information is there. Come hang out with us. It's the beginning of Marriage Week, February 7th and 8th. kick it off right. Let's start the new year right in elevating and celebrating our marriages.
That's right.
So until the next time,
Be blessed.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Married Into Crazy podcast with Snooks and Lovey. Please like, subscribe to, and review the show wherever you access it, and tell a friend about us. Visit marriedintocrazy.com and see how Snooks and Lovey can bless your marriage directly.